We are live. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. I'm your host, Blake Ruffino. This is Are You Serious Sports. We hope that you guys are making it a good one. We know that we are as well. Huge show in store for you tonight. We are an hour early as the LSU baseball Tigers face off against the UNO Pioneers in about 30 minutes. So we are going to jump the show up that way that we're able to go. Huge week for AYS. So we're going to go a little bit early tonight, but we still have a lot to talk about. We do have some breaking news, though, from LSU. So breaking. As we're coming on the show, LSU has announced that Nick Brosette, former LSU running back, will be the director of alumni relations and high school outreach. This is something that we had been hearing for a little while now. So Nick Brosette, former running back, is going to be assisted and paid to go and get a lot of alumni back on campus. Shout out to Brian Kelly for doing that. Shout out to Brian Kelly. It's a big deal to have former alumni on your staff, and then get that former that person to bring in a great alumni into and back to LSU, and a Baton Rouge guy. So congratulations to Nick Brosette. Very amazing individual in person. Congratulations, Nick. Yes, I see it. Chris Barnhill and Nookie said pioneers. You mean privateers? Correct. So you guys know what happens. You know what happens around this time. When there's breaking news at 7:00, my mind is in a little bit of a tizzy, but nevertheless, we're good to go. And forget it, UNO's in the Southland Conference. I don't care about any Southland Conference school outside of Southeastern. Lion up, baby. Southland Conference, here we come. You're right. I said Pioneers. But shout out to Nick Brosette, man. That's some very, very big news for him for sure. So congratulations to him. We do have a big show in store for you tonight, though. I'm going to discuss some more LSU needs. After going back last night and rewatching the game, LSU's biggest need for me right now, I will tell you what that is moving forward here tonight. LSU baseball pregame. We will pregame the LSU baseball game. No Trey Morgan at first base. Leto will be at first. Trey Morgan will DH. So I don't think you need Trey Morgan at first tonight, but Trey does bring a lot of good defense. Look at Jordan Thompson starts getting crazy out there. Let's hope Leto can stay, can be okay over there at first. We'll see. But I think LSU is going to hang tight and be good tonight. Mike Scarboro from TigerBait.com is going to be joining us at 6:30 to talk LSU recruiting, Dante Moore, other things like that. So a full recruiting and recap with Mike, and a recap of the spring game and what he saw during spring practice. As we do every Tuesday and Thursday, hashtag Ask Blake. And we will do so Thursday night, I'll announce it here. Thursday night, we are doing a draft companion show with Believe, our good partners over at Believe. We're going to have a lot of great guests, a co-host. Zach will be in the building, our producer, who's here with us tonight as well. So a lot of big things coming. We're locking down some very big guests for you guys to come on the show this upcoming Thursday. And the Pelicans Game 5 tonight. Give me the Pellies. Give me the Pellies. See, we had a troll in the YouTube chat. Shout out to Zach. Congratulations. Way to go for blocking whoever that was trying to troll the show. I blame Hayden Travinsky. That's who I blame. When all else fails, we blame Hayden Travinsky on this show. Now, I hope that Hayden Travinsky, who probably watches this show, because we have lots of thousands and thousands and thousands of listeners. Hayden Travinsky, we're just joking with you, bud. But congratulations that you are in the lineup tonight. Javon Turner, aka Vaughn from Twitter Spaces, says breaking. Javon Turner has signed an NIL deal with AYS Sports. Well, during the conversations with Vaughn, I couldn't get a word in any of it. He was just telling me about himself. Yep. But luckily we signed Vaughn. All right, let's get started. Yes, we are an hour early. I'm already receiving the DMs. Blake, why are you an hour early, Blake? Oh, no, why are you an hour early? Not the jelly bean buttons. By the way, Zach, did you know on YouTube I had a listener named Otto? First off, what in the Spider-Man is going on here? A guy by the name of Otto. Was your last name Octavius? Dr. Otto Octavius? Is that your last name? But he says I can't laugh at any more of my jokes. So if I said, oops, I did it again, like if I start singing or stuff like that, people don't like it. Stick to sports, Blake, you asshole, is exactly what he said. Well, Otto, what kind of parents names their child Otto, by the way? Anyway. Okay. But let's get this thing started, though, anyway. Shout out to you, Otto. Thanks for listening. Everybody do us a favor by hitting the like and share. Share to some Facebook groups. There's a lot of you on Facebook right now. Hit the like button. Hit the share. All of you hit the like. All of you hit the like. Now, I am going to wait to do this Thursday night, but here's what I'm going to tell you. I feel like giving away $500 this week. I want 10,000 followers on the Twitter machine. You get us to 10,000, and if you like and retweet our tweets and doing it, somebody's getting 500. I am ready. Fat stacks of mad cash. Go follow us on Twitter if you're not doing so already. Getting to a couple comments before we pay the bills and get started. But everybody go on YouTube, hit the share. Everybody listen to us on the audio podcast platform too. Hit that like and share, and don't forget to subscribe. The Golden Boot podcast says, does Javon's NIL deal require any quiet time? Actually, it requires nothing but quiet time for Vaughn. So Vaughn's going to be in spaces not saying anything. Anyway, guys, I'm already getting blitzed about calling your son Otto. I don't care what you call your child. Otto's a cool name. I don't care. It's just if he can come at me, why can't I come at him? Lord have mercy on my soul. Matt Kuvion says, don't have Twitter. Can I have $500 because we're friends? No, you got to go follow us on Twitter. Gotta follow us on Twitter. And Daniel Bentley on Facebook says, Blake, you saw Texas A&M is renovating their football facility again. I guess NIL working. Well, maybe not, but I think LSU is going to be fine in NIL. But I've been trying to tell you that, but no one listens. And Ryan Thibodeau says, AYS breaking. I signed an NIL deal with Manscaped. Yeah, because I'm sure you did. You find that thing hilarious, boy. I get you. I got you. All right, let's pay some bills around this thing. Got to talk about my good friends over at betonline.ag. Guys, our number one source and partner for all of your betting needs. Go over to betonline.ag today. Use the promo code BELIEVE. That's BLEAV. BLEAV to get a 50% welcome deposit or get a 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit. That's betonline.ag. Betonline.ag. All right, let's pay some more bills and then we'll get started. None better than our good friends over at GM Varno & Sons. With over 65 years of experience, nobody is better equipped to service in your vehicle than GM Varno & Sons. RV repair, big rig overhauls, motorhome chassis, routine maintenance, tire rotations, tire sales. No job is too big or too small over at GM. If you break down on the side of the road in the greater Baton Rouge area, they will come and get you. And the best thing about that is that they can come and get you, and then they can bring your vehicle back to their shop and start the repairs right then. Again, GM Varno & Sons. Go see them over at 2500 Fuller Boulevard. Give them a call at 225-664-9992. 225-664-9992. Tell them your good friend Blake Ruffino sent you on by.
Yeah, I got this too. I mean, everybody starts flooding the DMs at 6 o'clock about an hour before our show. Yes, I did see Mark Emmert, the NCAA president, is stepping down. Somewhere, our good friend Josh Pate over at 247, Late Kick Josh, is smiling like his name is the Grinch because he's going to take over college football and be the commissioner. Shout out to Late Kick Josh Pate for the exciting news that Mark Emmert's stepping down in the summer of 2023. Very quickly, though, before I tell you some more things about LSU, I tell you I think the LSU's biggest weakness on this football team. Number one, Mark Emmert's a buffoon. Let me, by saying this, tell everyone that I'm a very player-friendly person. Anything that's going to benefit the player, I'm pretty much all for it. Really, like, I don't think it's cool or funny or anything like that when a university or an athletic department is making hundreds of $millions a year, and you think that it's okay because a kid's got a scholarship. Like, I'm not okay with that. Well, Blake, they're paying them. They're going to school. So what? Like, you're making hundreds of millions of dollars because of what those kids do on every Saturday night or every midweek game or every night they go out there in the court. They're making millions and millions and millions of dollars. But I do have to say this. The way that Mark Emmert treated and did everything with NIL, everything with the transfer portal, it's going to be his legacy, and it's going to be a crappy one. Mark Emmert, at the time when he was at LSU, one of the more innovative people known in sports for going out and getting a guy by the name of Nick Saban. Now, that should have been his legacy. That should have been what he was known for. But when he became NCAA president, he did nothing but horrible things. There's nothing that you can say in Mark Emmert's tenure outside of maybe being behind a college football playoff there at the end, even though it's against the NCAA. There's nothing in his tenure that was worth a good goddamn. Nothing. Mark Emmert has been the worst commissioner that I can ever remember in my lifetime. Now, there's only been a handful, but he's by far been the worst. He didn't get anything right with the transfer portal, NIL. He waited for Congress, and those staying out of politics. I was about to say something crude, but some people in Congress and politics don't watch athletics. They don't watch sports. They don't know what's best for college football. They don't know what's best for college sports, and you're letting them dictate what's going on. You should allow the transfer portal. You should have put limits in place. You should have put limits for NIL. You shouldn't let Jimbo Fisher and his 4 strands of hair on top of his head go out there and say, hey, man, hey, Todd, to run reckless and do NIL deals. Shout out to what they did a couple of months ago, even though now some of their people in their collective at Texas A&M is not paying the recruits like they told them they were. Oops, sorry, oops, as Britney Spears says, oops, I did it again. Sorry you can't pay your athletes, but Mark Emmert, you buffoon. Nevertheless, shout out to you. See you, dog. Don't let the door kick you in the ass on the way out because you've been horrible for all of athletics. The way that you completely botched the COVID-19 situation. You completely botched everything that you've ever had your hands in. You better be lucky that you're not in a federal. Never mind, I'm not going to say that either. But he's so bad at his job. I literally think that 155-pound Zach Efron, Tigers Avenue Zach, I don't know why your last name's Lee, could do a better job than Mark Emmert, because you know what we would do as commissioners? We would actually use our brains to figure out what needs to happen in college athletics. You dummy. I have zero tolerance for Mark Emmert or anything he's about. Again, I like the concept of the transfer portal. I love the concept of name, image, and likeness. But when you don't have guardrails, guys, when you don't have guardrails on anything, shit's going to fall apart. But I will say this to all of you LSU fans, don't you dare tell me anything again about name, image, and likeness. And when we do things on this show and we do things on this platform and we say, hey, super chats are open, and you do nothing about it. Put up or shut up. All right, let's get started. We have a couple stars there sent, Zachy. One from Mr. Kevin Carter. Thank you. Round of applause. Every time you send us a super chat or some stars, we're going to give you one of these. All right. Oh, Kristen Connor. She made her debut in Twitter Spaces not too long. Shout out to Kristen. Hooty-hoo. All right. Look, so I kind of derailed a little bit from where I wanted to start this off at. But nevertheless, let's get to some LSU. Mike Scarboro joining us in about 10 minutes. I can't stop watching and thinking about this LSU spring game. Now, I'm not, as much as I'm not going to take away, spring game doesn't really mean a lot to me, right? Like it doesn't, one game or glorified scrimmage doesn't mean a lot. Guys, I got to tell you something. I'm really worried for DB. I got to say it. I'm not only am I worried about what's going on in the defensive back room, I'm worried a little bit more that they got beat man to man. Now I get Jarek Bernard Converse isn't there. I get Seven Banks isn't there. Shout out Seven Banks. But guys, you have a lot of seniors out there. You have a lot of experience. And quite honestly, you got picked apart. I get some people talking about Jane Daniels can't throw. Jane Daniels can't do this. Okay, fine. He had 4 drops. We went back and charted it again just to make sure we were okay or we were right. Miles Brennan was efficient at times. Garrett Nussmeier was efficient. Guys, you got picked apart. Now, LSU is not going to be running mostly man-to-man coverage. Actually, they're probably not going to be running a lot of man-to-man coverage if we're being honest. They're going to be bringing blitzes. Maybe sometimes they will, but LSU is going to play a lot of zones, something that we're not used to. But I think that the SEC and looking around the SEC, now you guys know, and if you've been a part of us for a while now, you know during the summer after baseball, we go all around the SEC. It's pretty much all we do. We go to Florida. We go to Arkansas. We go to Alabama. We go to I wait for Texas. You know, I don't want to go talk to A&M fans. They get on my goddamn nerves. We go to Tennessee. We go to Kentucky. We go to South Carolina. We've done all of that during the summer. We'll continue to do that. But one thing about all of those teams, they have a lot of them have at least one guy, one weapon on the outside that you have to be very careful with. And if you're not careful, and there's a lot of good quarterbacks in this league again. You got Bryce Young. I think the sleeper in the SEC this year, in my opinion, the biggest sleeper and nobody's really talking about Will Rogers, the quarterback at Mississippi State, Anthony Richardson at Florida. He might be my biggest sleeper. What is Dart going to do at Ole Miss? You know, you got Arkansas and KJ. So, I mean, like, you have a lot of good quarterbacks. A lot of people don't like what I'm about to say with this. Max Johnson had 30 touchdowns last year, guys. 30 touchdowns in the SEC with probably, if not the worst, offensive coordinator in LSU football history in Jake Peets. If you're not careful, and if you don't figure some things out, and make sure that these guys know their assignments. I think LSU could be in trouble. Now, I'll continue to watch spring. So basically what I do from here until kickoff is I'll break down practices. I'll break down the game film. Guys, I got to tell you, I'm really nervous in that DB room. You don't have that guy. Now, later after Scarborough, we'll talk about, because we're doing the big Thursday companion show with a partner with our good friends over at Believe. But, you don't have the Derek Stingley. Now, I get that Derek Stingley wasn't there for the last 2 years. Will Rogers at MSU. Did I say Will Rogers, Zach? Right. Zach was just giving me some updates. But, I'm hearing something as look, a year ago today, I'll retweet it on Facebook, but my good friend Stan Polkey, I called him and I told him that I was told, and we reported this, we have the evidence. I was told that the Saints were going to move up a couple years ago, trade with the Packers, and go get Marcus Davenport. Okay, let me tell you some of those same circles what they're telling me about Stingley. Guys, I don't know if Stingley gets past number 12, but you don't have that guy. You don't have a top 15 pick, right? Like on this team. I mean, on the defensive side of things. Now, maybe you do in a couple years in Mason Smith, but at the DB room, LSU is accustomed to having that dude. That's worrisome for me. Now, I think Seven Banks has the talent. Now he's coming off a pretty tough injury, right? Like a pretty tough injury. But I think he could be a guy. I think Bernard Converse can be a guy. Maybe not a Stingley type of dude or whatever. I got to be honest, man. The more and more I look at it, the more and more I get worried. And I got to tell you, I was praising Greg Brooks and Joe Fouché. I think that they're the best out there right now, if I'm being honest. Greg Brooks and Joe Fouché have been the best so far. Now, I didn't like a lot of the interceptions, and I still don't like a lot of the interceptions thrown by the quarterbacks, but majority of those interceptions that were thrown were either to Jay Ward, Joe Fouché, or Greg Brooks. Majority of them going to Greg Brooks. What happens if teams stay away from Greg Brooks? He can't lock down everybody. Zach, I saw that we had some super chats in here. Fire them in here. Rob Boudreaux sent us $9.99. I dig it. Thank you, Rob. Thank you. Donald Kelly Jr. giving us some stars. I appreciate you. Sherry Berry, $4.99. What else we got up in this thing? Nurse Court says the Krispy Kreme NIL fund. Shout out to our good friend Chris. Honey Bun Express. I dig it. Thank you guys so much. And Aaron Adams Jr. brought in a comment. It says, hashtag Ask Blake, did Raymond leave us in a bad position? Hell yeah, he left us in a bad position. Now, I get that he still left you Eli Ricks, but Eli Ricks was not a Corey Raymond recruit. That's an Ed Orgeron thing. Corey Raymond had really not a lot to do with Eli Ricks. Quite honestly, if we're just calling a spade, he did leave it in a bad way. You can make an argument. You can make the argument that it was the most toxic unit on your team. Jason Brumfield says Elias Durant. Damn, boy. I'm telling you, y'all after him tonight. David Bradford says, what about Todd Harris if he stays healthy? Yeah, I don't think that we can rely on Todd, but I was told that Todd had a meniscus tear. So, I think he could be back for the season, but nevertheless, he had a meniscus tear. That's not he's that same knee too, I believe. So, yeah, I'm not necessarily very prone to say that he's going to come in. I still think he's a safety. A linebacker, excuse me. I don't think that kid's a safety, but what do I know? What does Brian Kelly do with him? I have no idea. Mike Scarborough in about 2 minutes, maybe a little bit less. Talk some LSU recruiting. What did he see? What did he hear? What did he think? Let me tell you what I did. Even though I'm already a subscriber to TigerBait.com, Mike put in one of his picks this weekend. And you know what I did? I used the promo code AYS30. Zach, that's what I did. I went over there and used that promo code AYS30 to see who Mike was talking about. Just letting it know. The man put in a pick. He's like batting. Mike's like 99.9% accurate. I say not 100% because if I say 100, he'll come up in here doing the anchorman. I don't know how to put this, but I'm kind of a big deal. 99.9% accurate. Can't tell the man he's 100. Aaron Miller says, hashtag ask Blake, does Sage Ryan pan out? I think that he does. I mean, he was in the right position there to make the interception. He's just got to make it. I mean, he's just got to turn around, like make a play on the ball. You know what's interesting about who was it? SEC StatCat about Sage Ryan. Did y'all know that Sage Ryan did not miss a tackle all of last season? Now, I get that he was hurt, but that's kind of the point. So SEC StatCat said, however their metric works, that once a receiver caught a pass, Sage Ryan was number one, the quickest to make the tackle, and didn't have one broken tackle the entire season. I like that in a safety. Right now, does he probably need to get a little bit better in coverage? Yeah. But what happens if you're playing zone instead of man-to-man? Maybe he's just not a man-to-man guy. Let him roam, let him run free, let him make plays. But he's got to. I think he sees the field. I think he gets some playing time. That's for sure. All right, let's do this. We got some recruiting to talk about. I thought Brian Kelly couldn't recruit. It's what Notre Dame told me. We're going to find all of that out with Mike Scarboro up next. But let's pay some bills. Let's talk about our good friends, Zach, over at Gramco. And you already know what time it is. Our good friends over at Manscaped. Mike Scarborough, guys, I've got to talk to you about our good friends over at Gramco. They are the Delta 8 company based out of the state of Florida. They're founded by college football junkies just like you and I am not sure if you're familiar with Delta 8, but you need to be. Gramco is the absolute leader in this field, and they have phenomenal products that I just need to tell you about. First off is the Wake and Bake coffee that is absolutely spectacular. The gummies are as well, as they're the best in the market. So go to thegramco.com right now and use the promo code AYS25. That's thegramco.com, AYS25 promo code to get 25% off of your order. Jump on this fast as it is perfect for holidays, anniversaries, and everyday use. Gramco is hemp-derived and completely legal inside of the state of Louisiana. No medical card is needed, and shipping is very discreet. You must be 21 years older to order. Again, that's thegramco.com. Use that promo code AYS25. With the first pick in the NFL draft, Ball Saxonville has decided to pick Manscaped to stock up their Manscaped. The leaders in below-the-waist grooming have sponsored us and AYS to make sure that you do not get booed out of the bedroom, just like NFL Commissioner Roger Goodell. Support us by heading over to manscaped.com. That's manscaped.com, and use the exclusive code AYS at checkout for 20% off and free shipping. Again, that's manscaped.com. Use that promo code AYS at checkout for 20% off plus that free shipping. All right, we have our good friend, the man, the myth, the legend himself. I don't know how to put this, but Mike Scarborough joining us. Mike, what's up, buddy?
Just doing good, man. Just now that spring football's over with, kind of running around doing honeydews and things that have been put off for a couple of months. I wouldn't want anybody to have come to the house the last month to visit, because it hadn't been clean, that's for sure. Now it is.
What TV shows have you had to catch up on? Better Call Saul, Moon Knight. What else have you had to catch up on?
Well, I don't want to spoil Better Call Saul, but that was an episode last night.
Okay, well, I'm catching up. I'm trying my hardest. The Golden Boot Podcast says, shout out to Mike Scarborough. Absolutely. They love you, Mike. They adore you.
Yeah, no, I watched some of their shows Sunday night. Last couple of Sunday nights I've watched, and those guys do a great job.
I agree. Mike, I appreciate you joining us. You can follow him on Twitter at Scarborough Mike. We'll let you know how to get all the stuff on Tiger Bait. Mike, as long as I've been covering LSU, now this goes back 2018, okay, so not very long. I don't ever remember a spring game that had that many recruits on the sidelines. Now, maybe I'm wrong, but it seemed like the event this weekend was massive for recruits, LSU, Brian Kelly. Mike, is this the biggest thing that we've had in a long time recruiting-wise?
I don't know that it was any bigger than normal. I think probably certainly the previous 2 years with COVID, yeah. But it seemed probably about right. But I think probably what is really impressive is the number of out-of-state kids. And so you've got a lot of people that cover recruiting and LSU fans that are, maybe wringing their hands a little bit or getting a little worried about where's the Louisiana focus. And really, it's one of those deals we're going to be watching here throughout the spring evaluation period and through June. Is there some new names, some new guys that the staff has uncovered? There's no doubt in my mind that as they're all out right now, and we've seen Poley in the last 2 days talking about all the places he's hitting in East Texas, and they're all out. So there's going to be a lot of kids while they're out that they're going to be, particularly a guy like Poley. Maybe he sees a DB he likes at his school, and, whether Cooks or Steeples likes him, he doesn't know, but he's probably darn sure trying to convince that young man through his coach for him to come to camp in June. And so June's going to be very big for this staff, the first year that they get to conduct June camps. And certainly right before I came on with you, big news with Nick Brissett joining Brian Kelly's staff. So I think that's something nice that he's going to be like a high school liaison, which was Baglio's old job. I don't know if the job description is the same, but Nick has always been one of those big personality kids. So I think that's a really nice addition for Brian Kelly. But I just think everything that we saw in the spring between what was on the field and recruiting gives a lot of reason for LSU fans to be upbeat, excited, hopeful, whatever words you want to use.
Dante Moore, the 5-star quarterback. Now, I don't want you, because I know you just published a story on TigerBait.com, so I don't.
And I have more coming tomorrow.
Okay. Outside of the story, what are some things you can tell us about Dante Moore? Obviously, he was the biggest. Joe Burrow and him with the picture. I mean, Mike, that's a pretty big deal. What can you tell us about his visit and maybe where LSU sits right now with him?
I think LSU is positioned very, very well for him right now. And he's certainly got all the other schools that have been involved with him very nervous. I thought that before the weekend. And look, there's no denying. First of all, whenever Brian Kelly is involved and there's parents and coaches along with the recruit, that is as much of the battle as whether the kid enjoyed the food or meeting a former player.
Right.
No one ever, we talk about this recruiting stuff, but it's very rare that we talk about the interaction between the head coach, the position coach, and parents. Mm-hmm. And that factor, because you can have a kid focusing on one thing, but on his way home after the trip, you've got a parent in his ear that was focused on many other different things. And then there's no doubt about it that a young man might like a particular school, but he always wants a parent to have enjoyed the visit as much as they did. And so, but having said that, they're still denying if you're a defensive back and you're getting to take pictures with Tyrann Mathieu, if you're a quarterback and you're meeting Joe Burrow, if you're a receiver and Jamar Chase and Justin Jefferson are there, and on and on. That whole 2019 contingent that was there on the sideline, those guys are rock stars all over the country. Clyde,
go ahead, Mike. Go ahead.
Yeah, Clyde Edwards-Helaire, the works.
You know what it felt like to me, and just kind of putting some, just randomly talking to some high school coaches, is it felt like to me that it sent a message to everybody that those guys have Brian Kelly's back a little, right? Like, hey, how did he pull that off? Like, what happened there? Well, everybody's gone. So who called Joe Burrow? You know, it's like, it's kind of the funny little things in the midst there. But
you know what really is really telling about that to me? I kept, and you could probably see, look at my arm, look at the sunburn. I mean, dude, it's like, what an idiot.
Trying to show your guns off. Don't lie.
No, I just, it's like, I'm the guy that goes out there and says, I don't need any sunscreen. And then, next thing I know, I'm going to be at MD Anderson. Joe Burrow didn't want any publicity. I kept waiting with the sunburn. I was going to go up to the press box for the rest of the game, but I stayed down on the field because I kept thinking at some point, Joe Burrow's going to get introduced and they're all going to wave all those former players, and it never materialized. And it was, so Burrow was there because he wanted to visit. He wasn't there because he wanted to hear LSU fans cheer for him. Mm-hmm. And so that just is more of folklore that goes with Joe Burrow and the kind of person he is.
Mike Scarborough from TigerBait.com is our guest. Mike, a little bit more about recruiting. I want to get your take on this team. It seems as if that Brian Kelly is attacking that the guys he maybe have already evaluated, right? Like, it seems like you're getting more traction from the out-of-state guys and they want to go in-state. Am I reading that right? Like, maybe Brian Kelly knew about Yates. Maybe he knew about Doherty at Georgia. But now he seems like there's a little bit more focus to in-state kids. Am I reading that wrong, or is that something that may be happening?
I don't know. That could be part of it. Each one of those guys coming from different areas, different schools, had a board that they were working at their previous employer. And so that's the low-hanging fruit. And then, of course, Hankton was recruiting Louisiana at Georgia.
Right.
And Frank Wilson, obviously was in Louisiana, but he wasn't recruiting the same list of kids at McNeese that he, a lot of them are new names to him.
Right. So,
and of course, those two are actually, I guess sharing New Orleans, or they're going to double team New Orleans. But like on Saturday, you see Caden Jones, the offensive lineman that was there.
Right.
And he was offered by the previous staff. But, when I saw him last year, De La Salle in that jamboree at Ponchatoula, against Brother Martin, I thought he was a project. But I wonder if that's the type of
lineman, Mike, that we watched.
Yeah, he's about 6'6",
right.
But he doesn't carry any bad weight, and he's one of those kids that you might poo-poo now, but by the time he's 20, 21, so
I wish you took him.
Yeah, if you're only going to be allowed 25 in this class, maybe if something falls through on signing day, he would be one that you would take last minute. But if you're going to get a 25 plus 7 again, then maybe all of a sudden an LSU and some other Power 5 schools will take a flyer on a Caden Jones. But that's always been the deal. I know that under Ed Orgeron and Miles, it was one of these deals where it got to the point where the offensive line was such a focus, you couldn't afford to take a flyer on a kid that wouldn't give you anything for 2 or 3 years.
Right.
And so, but if you get a 25 plus 7 and he's a good student, and he doesn't carry in a bad weight, you just got to get him stronger and more mature. He's definitely be a one. You see him there on Saturday, you got to believe they're going to have him in June camp.
Mike, did you read the Dellinger piece today by chance? Just because?
No, I didn't.
Okay, so it would seem that they're going. The 25 is pretty much inevitably gone per Ross. Now I have no idea about that, but it's to get back to the 85. I know you probably have thought about this before now because it's kind of been out the last month or so. Does that help or hurt teams? It seems like it helps them because of the portal, but what happens to State Louisiana and LSU if you're able to take maybe 5, 6, 7 of the lesser recruited guys or guys that you weren't going after?
What is he saying about the 25 being out?
that it's gone, that basically it would be unlimited. The only thing is you would have to get back to the 85 scholarships. So
you have to have 85 in August. Is that what he's saying?
Correct. So there's a deadline. Let's just call it August the 1st. Okay. By August the 1st, you're recruiting for the previous year stops, and then the next season starts, right? So you have until August the 1st to recruit all of these kids and bring them on campus, whatever. And the way that I understand it is that there is no limit. So if you're LSU in 2019 and you lose 25, 26, 27 kids, and then you have some other kids opt out, transfer, or whatever, you can go and get 35 to 38. There's no limit. So how does that affect the state of Louisiana from a high school level?
I'd like to see what the asterisks are on that.
Has to be seen.
But I'm also thinking what schools would vote against that, because I think whether you're a mid-major or a Power 5, they're all in the same predicament because of the transfer portal. I guess the thing you want to get away from is if you're trying to get to that 85, that you start having coaches start to cull kids and not renewing scholarships. So that's why I want to see what the asterisks are. The processing.
Right. I agree that it was just the perception I got from Ross now.
But that would make sense. That would make sense because I'm starting to wonder at some point, do they start letting you? Is the number going to go from 85 to 90? I know Coley, when I asked him that question a few months ago, said he didn't think that the 85 would ever get raised.
Well, I think it should. I mean, but again, with the portal, if you're going to let the portal be the way that it is, you got to do something for schools. I mean, you can't just anyway.
Yeah, and then if it ever would get to 90 and you're the NCAA and you're dropping some sanctions on a school, all of a sudden, what is that number you start hitting them with to make it sting? It ain't just 2. You got to start making it 6, 7, 8.
Hell, Mike, it might get in the double digits. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Anyway, we'll fire in your questions to Mike. # Ask Mike. Mike, look, I don't take hell of a lot of a spring game because I know that you've been at practice every day, and you've done more footage and breakdown of them just at practice and of the game. As a collective unit, what would you think that you've been the most surprised about just this entire spring, not just the spring game?
I kind of think everything went to form. I mean, I would have liked to seen Bernard Converse out there, obviously, because that's affecting how you view the cornerbacks right now.
Right.
But I still maintain what I've been saying for months, that I think the offensive line spot's going to be a lot better, a lot quicker than people think. And certainly Will Campbell coming in, doing what he's doing, and Cam Wire moved out right. And then when you get Dellinger back 100%, and and then I think one of the biggest things that it dawned on me today, obviously we know about Boutte and Bernard Converse, but one of the biggest positives, which there were a lot of them in spring football, was that LSU avoided the catastrophic injury. That there was nobody lost that's not going to be able to play in the 22 season. Anybody that got nicked up or dinged up or had something, it's all something that's fixable, and they'll be 100% by August.
Yeah, and I saw 2 guys at Georgia, like MCL, PCL. I mean, they got battered and beat to hell. I mean, I think that you're right there. Mike, last night I said, 2 more, Mike, and we'll get out of here. I said last night that the running back room probably surprised me the most, the way that they ran the football. I love Kevin Falk to death. I really do. But is it because you have an experience of maybe for Frank Wilson, who's been coaching that position much longer, why you see those guys maybe jump up a little bit more, or maybe it's just these guys developing and having their time and now they're here and ready to go?
Man, it could be every factor under the moon. It could be a positive attitude. It could be attention to detail. It could be the offensive line getting better.
Right.
it can be the want, the want to, or the chest, whatever there's a lot of components as to why you can think these things, it's all starting to come together. But you can see where the foundation's getting laid, the way we're talking, the way fans are talking, that you're going to have some LSU fans come mid-August that all of a sudden are going to start talking crazy one-loss records.
Oh,
It's coming.
Doing it. They're already doing it. Zach, fire in some questions for Mike very quickly, and then we'll get him on out of here. LSU still up at the plate. I think it's 1-0. I thought they scored, but Jerry Zimmerson says hashtag Ask Mike. You got a good vibe about Trey Holly's situation.
Yes.
How you feel about Trey?
Yes, I do. That kid is amazing. It's one of you obviously we know his stature and his size, and you see what he did in the Superdome and his highlight tape. But when you really see him in street clothes and shorts and a t-shirt, it's even more of an amazing, just how, I don't want to use the word tiny, but the kid's build, like when you see how tall he is and how compact he is and how durable he is for that size, it's something else. But that's one right there where LSU's done a fantastic job. So he's the guy that I put is my prediction on Saturday. Mm-hmm. So is it tomorrow? Is it next week? I don't know, but I don't think the timetable is very long. And but then you turn that around, and you're talking about the running back from Houston this weekend,
right?
And but what does that do for Caleb Jackson? Tommy Robinson's trying to raid Baton Rouge 2 years in a row for A&M.
Yeah, I don't know. Firing, we'll pick that one up when that one gets closer for sure. LGZ says hashtag Ask Mike. Considering we've already signed 2 safety and it looks like we are in a good position for our I can't say the kid's last name. Where do you think we stand with Derek Williams? But the AG kid, that's the kid out of Georgia, I believe. But where do we stand with Derek Williams?
Yeah, I want to see more of. I want to see more of Derek Williams making his way to Baton Rouge for visits.
Now, he did put on social media, Mike, very quickly that he was at a prom and why he didn't go to the spring game. So everybody freaking out. Goes, guys, I'm in a limousine.
And by the way, and the thing about Derek Williams is that because he's not a Twitter look at me guy,
you don't know what's going on.
All the conspiracy theories with him are able to fester and grow. Because he doesn't do a whole lot of interviews. He's shy. He's not a guy that needs 18 social media posts a day to feel like a whole human being.
Right. Well, last one. Fire, because they keep coming in. Let's just give them one more. Bruce Steele says hashtag Ask Mike. If Louisiana kids start committing now, won't LSU take them first? I mean, I'm sure that they would take some of them first. I mean, that's all Brian Kelly's been talking about.
Yeah, I mean, any kid right now that's got a committable offer, LSU is a take. It's not a matter of who comes in first and wanting out-of-state kids to pull the trigger now. If they've got a committable offer, they got a committable offer because they've got them slotted on their board, and they've got a pretty darn good idea about how, in their ideal scenario, the recruiting class is going to play out in the coming months.
Mike, I just want to tell you, as the last thing and part of our show, thank you so much. And if Brian Kelly lands a top 5 recruiting class to Notre Dame fans and alum and media, I'm going to be unbearable. I'm just letting everybody know. I'm letting you and the good Lord Savior Jesus Christ know I'm going to be unbearable.
I think the only thing that's going to catch him is him. He was joking all spring long about the heat and it feeling like San Diego. Uh-huh. And August will be. I said no. Get ready. It's going to be June. It's going to hit you hard in June. But I think he's really taken LSU. I was never one that I always thought it was silly if anybody thought he couldn't recruit LSU, because that's with his ability to communicate. And when a parent sits across the desk from him, that's over.
Right.
But the other part of it was the culture shock and the fish out of water part of it. That's the one that I just knew. I mean, now he's buying a house. He's figured out, he knows the rule to be within a mile of campus. He's got a beautiful home that's on the LSU lakes. He can host parties there. They were supposed to host them Friday. I don't know what happened. There was something that wasn't ready, or I don't know if they could get catering there or what, but there was something supposed to happen at his house on Friday with the recruits, and it didn't for whatever reason. So it looked like they commandeered the building across the street. That was that balcony shot of him with Burrow and chasing them, which, he ought to basically go in there and throw his weight around and say, this is now mine, because that's a great shot. You can host wine and cheese parties, whatever he wants to do up there, keg parties.
LSU events.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, isn't that building supposed to be TAF? It's got a different name on it.
I don't know.
I forget. I'm walking by the signage on that building. I know initially it was, I think TAF's offices are in there, but the name on the building is something else.
No, because their name's on the building, but it's not. It doesn't seem occupied though.
Yeah, that balcony shot that needs to be where in regular use.
I would definitely do it. That's for dang sure. Mike Scarborough, TigerBait.com. Mike, you got a lot of stuff popping up on YouTube, your website. Tell everybody where they can find it. And
go to Tiger Bait right now. Right, like you said, right before we went on, I got a full-blown Dante Moore update, and I'm going to have even more of one tomorrow. But the one that was posted tonight is a lot to chew on, and there's a bigger one coming tomorrow morning. So you want to go to Tiger Bait, subscribe, and use your promo code AYS30, and you'll get 30 days for $1. And we love the guys from your show that come over, because I think we've got like a 96% retention rate. So once they get on Tiger Bait, they love it. They're going to get the text alerts, the newsletters, and I'm about to hit the road. We're going to be hitting all these spring scrimmages and spring practices for high school.
That's what I was going to ask you too, but we'll save it for another time. I saw people on Twitter saying Coach House and Denbrock. I'm seeing it all over Twitter. Thank you, Mike Denbrock. Thank you, Matt House, for showing up. And it's kind of like, say, bro, where you at? But they're deep in Louisiana. They're in the bayou, it seemed like, Matt House.
Yeah, and by the way, when I talk to Notre Dame people, Denbrock is a recruiter, man.
Oh, Mike, just go search on Twitter, Mike Denbrock.
Yeah, and the tight ends love him. The kid from Indianapolis has been LSU twice now. You want to put him down?
All right. I love it, Mike. Thank you so much, buddy.
All right, guys. Have a good night.
All right, that's Mike Scarborough from TigerBait.com. Always fantastic. The legend. Literally the recruiting board goat. Literally the recruiting board goat. Yep. So, Zach, we got an update. Error at third makes it 1-0 LSU. So we're monitoring, but we wanted to go live tonight. I'm not going to stay too long. I wanted to give my my draft update. We'll do that tomorrow. But Pelicans Game 5. Let's just bring in Zach and let's call it a little bit of night since LSU's out there. Zachy, LSU up 1-0. Runners on first and second, 2 outs. I don't really care if they win or lose this game. I mean, I want them to win it. It's the biggest weekend of Jay Johnson's LSU tenure. I'm going to continue to say it all week and all weekend. But what did you think about the show tonight? Anything stand out to you?
Man, I enjoyed it. And if you are not subscribed to TigerBait.com, you better go head on over there and subscribe to TigerBait.com.
Mike's the GOAT, dude. Like, he's been doing this since like 1992. Zach, when you were hanging out with your mom's ovaries, I mean, he was doing LSU recruiting stuff. So nevertheless, Zach, we got a big week. We'll talk a lot about this Thursday in a 3-hour show on draft. Derek Stingley climbing up a little bit more in some draft boards, I'm hearing, but look, man, he's not going to be top 5. I know a lot of people are pushing that. I can't see at the current moment, but where do you see Stingley?
I mean, we know what the talent is. We know the talent is top 5, top 3.
You can't argue that.
I am curious to see where he goes. Obviously, I think the 2 years of injury, having the injury bug, has hurt him. But does a team take – I don't even want to say take a chance, because they're not really taking a chance with the talent that they're getting. But does a team take a chance, with the injury bug that he's had? I mean, I can see that. I can see that happening. It wouldn't be a surprise to me at all.
All right, and y'all got a show coming up, right? 7:15, Tigers Avenue podcast.
We do. We're going to be covering the rest of the baseball game. I'm a little bit disagree with you there. I am interested tonight, and there's one reason why. Ty Floyd, because Ty Floyd pitched phenomenal last week and during the midweek game. And if they can solidify another guy, another, starter potentially, and if Ty Floyd's pitching like he did last week and he continues that way tonight, that helps LSU in their bullpen, further helps them in their bullpen, especially moving forward when you have like a weekend coming up like they do.
If you're really that interested, you wouldn't be going live tonight, dude.
Hey, I'm going live and we're covering it. We're going to be covering it while we're watching.
I like it. I dig it. I'm just messing. But Ty Floyd's got to run us on first and second, 2 outs. We'll see. I just want to talk about a good friend, Carol Foss, over at State Farm, 985-395-4300. It's 985-395-4300 for all of your insurance needs, life, home, and auto. He can do it all. My good friend John Patton over at GMFS Mortgage, 225-614-1234. That's 225-614-1234. Buying a new home, saving money on the mortgage you have now, or even doing that cash out refi. The timing has never been better. Get in touch with him today and tell him that your good friend Blake Ruffino sent you on by. All right, guys, we're heading out. We'll see y'all again tomorrow. Big show on Thursday. We'll see y'all soon. Have a good night. Peace out, Girl Scouts.